lot of us, the first thing we have to do when we get to work is swipe in with our key card. Then you sit down to start working, and you need a password to log in here too. And here at our station, if you want a snack, want to come upstairs to the break room, you got to grab your snack, bring it over here. You got to use a card to be able to purchase it. But what if there was a way that you wouldn't have to do any of that, where you could be microchipped, and that would basically work for the entire building? Well, it might be possible soon. Well, dozens of people are doing it voluntarily. Next week, 3 Square Market in Wisconsin will be the first company in the U.S. to give microchips to its workers. They expect more than 50 employees to opt into the microchip. This is what it looks like, about the size of a grain of rice. It gets implanted under the skin between the thumb and the forefinger, and it just takes seconds to do it. The chip implant uses the same technology as mobile payments like Apple Pay. The chip allows them to buy stuff in the break room, log into their computer, and get into the building. The Wisconsin company got the idea from a company in Sweden that started voluntarily putting chips in its workers recently. It claims the chip does not track people, but there are possible privacy concerns for the future, because the company's CEO says the chips have the ability to store medical and health information. Still a lot of concern about this one, though, because what if you quit or you got fired? It costs $300 to implant the chip into your body. No word on exactly how they would get it out if you needed to.
Imagine being able to travel without a passport or worry about losing it. You just hold your hand up and all the documentation comes up.
I thought it went great. You don't know how it's going to feel or, what it's going to feel like, but really, in my opinion, it didn't feel like anything.
I'd just like to know more about the long-term health effects.
Everything opened up here, and then we'll start the procedure.
And for the record, in terms of a pain scale, if you can compare it to something,
probably more like a bee sting.
The latest office innovation is a microchip implanted in the skin.
This is the first American company to ever try this.
So what are they tracking, and would you say yes if your boss asked you to do the same?
So if my employer wanted to microchip me as if I was their puppy, I would have a huge problem with it, and I would probably quit.
You could argue that the government is tracking you everywhere you go, but they are already with your phones.
Yeah, it just seems a bit permanent. If you already have an Apple Watch that's you're wearing around, at least you can take that off at some point. Not something I would do.
I think it's a great idea, and I think it would make it all a lot easier. I just think that you have to back it up with maybe some doctors saying it's good for your health, and then I think I would do it.
3 Square Market is a company working on one of the biotech advances at the forefront, implantable RFID or radio frequency ID microchips. The tech has been around for decades, used to track pets, packages, and livestock, but now the Wisconsin-based company is trying to make the implants mainstream. Even with all the risks and unknowns associated with this technology, I was really curious what it'd be like to have an implant. So I traveled to Wisconsin to get chipped, thinking, what's the worst that could happen? The chip is coming out at the end of the day. And the RFID chip is already inside there?
Yes.
And it's a little bit larger than a grain of rice.
Correct.
Jasmine rice, I think.
Basmati.
That's Andy Whitehead, better known as Gonzo. He's a local body piercer with 17 years of experience who was brought in to implant the microchips. I was slightly nervous about having the microchip inserted inside my body, given the size of the needle, and also nervous about what it could potentially mean for me, but here we go.
Just take a nice big deep breath in, and exhale, release. There we go.
It's in there.
It's in there. Pretty quick and easy.
I feel like a cyborg.
Here you go, you're a proud member now.
Indeed, part of the club. Just like that, I was part of a small group of people on Earth pushing the boundaries of what it means to be human. And within minutes, I was meeting with their tech team to get my chip programmed. I guess what you're saying, to sort of put it in layman's terms, if I wouldn't need to take this out, until we live in that futuristic world where everything's wireless, cash is gone, autonomous vehicles take us everywhere, and I'm just beeping my way through my day.
Really, probably you'd never have to take it out, and this is what we think is going to propel us into that next stage in life, the cashless society like they're doing overseas already. This would facilitate that because you wouldn't need to carry any cards or cash. Everything would literally be stored on the chip.
There is no GPS tracker in the chip, which was really good to know. And the applications for it were actually pretty sweet. I could now open doors, fire off texts, forget all of my passwords, and even make credit card payments. I started to wonder, is it worth getting this thing removed?
And what I'll do is I'll set yours up so that I can make a phone call off of it right now.
Success. Stuck in this internal debate about whether to keep the chip, I thought I'd talk to some employees to get their take. One who has the chip and another who opted out.
You know, I wasn't opposed to it, but they had so many people that wanted the chip that I felt I would just wait for a few months and see how everybody reacted to it, if anybody got sick from it, anybody got infections, any of that stuff. And it's everybody that has gotten one has been just doing just fine on it.
You got chipped on your very first day. I guess the number one question I have is why? Like, why did you feel you had to do it besides seeing everyone else?
So I found out through social media that the company that I was moving from Colorado to come to Wisconsin to work was optionally microchipping their employees. It sounds really futuristic and bizarre. And at first I wasn't going to do it.
And how much information did you have? Did you know that you could open doors? Sure, but how much information do you have about the chip in general?
All of the questions that the news were asking, all the questions the employees were asking, all the right questions, the nitty-gritty questions were there. So I knew what it was made of, I knew what it could do, what it could do in the future. I was well educated before getting a microchip in my hand.
They offered to take it out at the end of the day, and I was like, absolutely don't want this thing in my body longer than it needs to be. And I'm kind of having second thoughts. I think it might be fun to play around with it some more. I don't know, I'm having some thoughts, some inner conflicts about whether to keep it in or take it out.
We came across this and saw it being used in other societies. We said, why not us?
Why not us? That's the attitude here at 3 Square Market in River Falls. The software engineering company has taken the tech world by storm by offering to microchip employees.
An opportunity that we saw to really provide something to society.
President and CEO Patrick McMullen has been working on this project since January. Employees aren't required to get the chip. It's completely voluntary.
It's a big needle, though. I've been pierced with bigger.
The company offered me the opportunity to get chipped, and I agreed.
One more big deep breath in, and exhale. Not too bad, huh?
Not too bad. Yeah, just a pinch. Yeah.
Pretty easy.
Okay.
Convenience, in a lot of ways convenience. Really eliminating what I have to carry in my pockets.
Employee Tony Dana says the chip will be used for basic tasks like getting in and out of the building, logging onto his computer, and buying snacks in the break room.
And then to finalize your payment, you'll put your RFID chip, hold it against it. Now my unique card that's identified with the RFID chip, it's asking if I'd like to put the $6 on my chip. So yes.
Since word got out about the chips, 3 Square has been contacted by hospitals, universities, even the U.S. and foreign governments about the technology.
Imagine being able to travel without a passport or worry about losing it. You just hold your hand up and all the documentation comes up.
The company says this particular chip is not capable of GPS, but they admit that could be in the future. In River Falls, Tim Elliott, WISN 12 News.
3 Square says the microchips are made in Taiwan. The company ordered 60 of them. The cost of each chip is believed to be around $300.